General Greene here, December 15th, 2025. Let me know you can hear me, and then do us a favor and like and share. We've got big news today. A few days ago, I did some bombshell videos. I said it was much too quiet. Enjoy the holidays because the elites were about to pull off a major false flag in the westernized world. I told you they were positioning for world war, and also the economic collapse reset into blockchain, into tokenization, into crypto, and also into AI. And like a drum, less than 24 hours later, we have a massive event on the beaches of Sydney, on Bondi Beach, Australia, proving that GUN control is not effective at all. For those of you that don't know, Australia has some of the harshest GUN laws in the world. It has some of the harshest GUN laws in the world. In Australia, it's considered a privilege to own a GUN. It is not a right like it is here in America. And they actually say by law that self-defense is not a good reason to have a GUN. And again, that event, that tragic event that's targeting a very specific group of people, proves my point, because it's also what the elites are crafting for the next world war cause. There's a cause and there's an effect, and they are setting up a very specific narrative. Notice what this narrative is. It specifically targets a group of people at war with another group of people. So first off, hearts and prayers to all the victims. Another massacre on the books in the westernized world, proving that Western civilization has officially collapsed. And I'm going to be getting into some breaking stories affecting Americans here next, because we have a huge 2026 ahead of us. Happy holidays to everybody tuning in. This will be a bombshell video. So not only should we be getting our money out of the banks, we need to be preparing for continued hyperinflation as more bailouts and quantitative easing 4 has now been announced by the central bank here in the United States, but we must also prepare for civil war. For those of you that are not aware, the Democrats and the deep state have launched an active coup against the President of the United States, Donald Trump. This active coup will result in what I believe will be aggressive shock and awe impeachment proceedings coming into early next year. So I want you to understand that we're not out of the woods yet. Donald Trump and his family have been fighting for their very lives since Butler, Pennsylvania, and the previous administration of Trump. And then, of course, what he called and dubbed a stolen, really a selection. And now the events coming, which will be an impeachment proceeding, like Richard Nixon for Donald Trump. So I want you to understand that not only has the deep state already blatantly called for an active coup. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we had Democratic leaders call for the disobedience of military figures and leaders here in the United States to go against the president if he actually made and solicited a legal order. So I want you to understand that this really is a worst case scenario breakdown, not just in the United States, but the westernized world. So we're going to talk what's coming because, we know what's coming economically and financially. We understand that BlackRock is basically taking everything over. We understand they've been buying all the single family homes in America. They're specifically targeting low income neighborhoods now. I also have some updates in Maui. Blackstone just bought Lahaina as predicted. So they cleared the most valuable real estate. Now Blackstone is moving in with $2.5 billion. Many Hawaiians, including myself, are fearful that they're going to build a new Honolulu on the ashes and grave of Lahaina victims. Keep in mind, I was there during the fires. The officials locked everybody in and corralled everybody into the flames. That's a fact. The government was not there to help or provide any support at all. So as we also predicted, you always have to look at who benefits. Who's benefiting from the collapse of America? Who benefited from the erasure? And we've seen fires all across the United States, which have been targeted in very specific locations. Who benefits? Well, we know who benefits, and that's usually the culprit, the BlackRocks, the Blackstones, the governments around the world. Who benefited from the lockdowns in 2020? Governments did. They now have circumvented more power, and they've implemented a radical police state. We now have billions of people doing suddenlies. You know what I'm talking about. Turbo cancers are all the rage, which is very profitable. I want you to keep in mind that the turbo cancers, especially among our youth now, on some of these topics that we are not allowed to discuss, are extremely profitable for the elites. Just like Ozempic, right? They make you fat with poison food, poison air, and they spray your skies that they now admit with sulfur and other radical chemicals like barium and other things that I can barely even consciously describe. Then after making you sick, they profit from that as well. So you always have to ask the question, who benefits? So let's ask this question today. Please like and share. Who benefits from these shock, divide, and conquer campaigns? Who benefits from these wars? Who benefits from these lockdowns? Well, I think we know who the culprit is. Again, you can't even make this stuff up. It's only been a short couple of years, and you already have BlackRock, Blackstone, they're all pretty much the same. Faceless entities. Nobody knows who's even in charge. And that's how the deep state operates. Again, it's a faceless, invisible enemy. They even literally said that. So you don't know who to fight back peacefully against. Faceless entities run by the men in the cloaked room, so to speak, that are really implementing these satanic rituals. Now, last night before going to bed, I have been spending a lot of time with family and friends, which is extremely important that we do that we go to church, we're in our Bibles, we're getting super close to God. But as I was going to bed, I noticed that Rob Reiner and his wife were also massacred. Incredible. Now, I'll tell you this, I'm not buying the official story. They're blaming it on his son. That seems like a patsy to me. Just like the Charlie Kirk situation and the alleged perpetrator, my opinion, patsy, lies. In fact, there's a lot of drama going on right now with Candace Owens and Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk has been on a massive publicity campaign. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. It's been all the rage talked about on social media, but since the immediate assassination of her husband, she's been on one big giant Hollywood tour. Show after mainstream media interview, after podcast, after video. It was announced yesterday that today, this makes no sense, by the way, but they had to announce, this is what Erica Kirk announced, that they're having a private meeting. So she announced a private meeting because it's private and we're not supposed to know about it, but they're making it a publicity stunt that her and Candace Owens will be meeting before the next live stream. So there's been a lot going on with that, and we've seen how Charlie Kirk has been thrown in the grave by the deep state, and TPUSA has been now hijacked and taken over. Always again, who benefits? You always have to ask yourself this question, folks. Who benefits from the erasure of Charlie Kirk? Who's in the limelight now? Answer the question. Who benefits? Who's doing the media tours? Who's launching the books? Who's giving the sob stories with her mascara running down her face? Who's doing the big events with J.D. Vance? I mean, think about this. If you had lost a loved one, would you be on a PR publicity Hollywood tour with your agents right after? I mean, maybe if you were a media figure, it's possible that that's like how you would deal, but that's typically not going to happen. So we all know that Charlie Kirk, who threatened the system, who was asking very intelligent, logical questions, who was being positioned really like another Kennedy, but for the Republican Party, who very likely would have won the presidency of the United States, who was asking key questions about certain nations, suddenly whacked by a patsy. Notice there hasn't been any follow-up to that alleged perpetrator. For example, who is the guy? What was his motivation? Why did he target Charlie? What's his background? What were his political affiliation? Who are his parents? Who is this guy? Right? I mean, if you had a real media, they'd be doing interviews with his former school teachers, with his friends, with his parents, with his family, with his acquaintances, where he worked. We'd have a full background check. See, that's if this was real. So somebody, I'll say it, but somebody within TPUSA, Turning Point, and somebody within the deep, dark state didn't like the questions Kirk was asking and felt, I believe, this is my opinion, but I'll state it, threatened by that man. And so, you know, they do what they do best, just like Tony Soprano. Catching the drift. Catching the drift yet, folks. So I ain't buying the Rob Reiner story. I'm not buying it. I think the son is a patsy scenario. You know, wasn't Rob like tied in not just to Trump derangement syndrome, but wasn't he a part of those trafficking kind of rings and stuff too? I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I'm asking the question. I wasn't following him that closely, but like, wasn't he tied into all of that? Like all the shocking revealed photos that just came out with Epstein? You know, I know it weighs heavily on the hearts of most Americans. It certainly does mine, but isn't it sickening? Whether or not these world leaders knew or not, but every single world leader, everyone in power, all the banksters, and all of your politicians, all of them were best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Doesn't that make you want to throw up? Everybody. Everybody's still in charge today. Everyone that implemented the lockdowns. Everybody that pushed forward the PPP bailout loans. Okay, everyone that did 2008-09, everyone that sold their stocks ahead of you, the American public, before the 2020 collapse. All of these people are still in power. Isn't it sickening to know that every single politician, every Hollywood elite, every banker, everyone in the public eye, they're all connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Every single last sickening one of them. Isn't it disgusting? So I want to make a point today too, because, you know, Candace Owens is doing some good work. She might be wrong about certain things, but she is asking a lot of questions and uncovering a lot of truths one way or another. But the question I want to ask you is, even if Candace Owens had the smoking you-know-what, raw footage proving her allegations, I want you to think about this. Let's say Candace Owens has the footage. She uncovers the smoking GUN. We have the evidence. Let's say it goes viral on the internet. Every American sees it. It's real. Let's say she uncovers the shocking truth. Her and Erica uncover it together. Let's just play the story, okay? And they uncover it. Do you think anything would happen? Not at all. And see, this is what the American people need to understand, that even if you had direct evidence of who was actually behind Charlie Kirk's whacking, still nothing would happen. Folks, I'm sorry to tell you, demons are in charge. Demons are in charge. There are no repercussions. These people are still in power. This is something Donald Trump, we need to pray for him, but he really needs to work on, is he needs to get super aggressive on draining this swamp, because these people are still in power. I'm telling you the truth. You know what I'm saying is the truth. Even if we have the smoking GUN, I'm talking about raw bombshell evidence pointing to the actual perpetrators, there would be no consequences. Just like every single too big to fail banker that ripped you off in 2008-09 is still in power. Just like Jamie Dimon, who helped finance $1 billion into Epstein's trafficking ring, still remains the CEO. Just like 99.9% of the dirty cabal swamp is still in power. So I want you to understand there's a difference between like entertainment, reality television, drama in Erica Kirk. We've seen Erica Kirk. It's been terrible. Charlie came home. Shabbat shalom. When Charlie came home, I'd make him dinner. And if it got cold, I would tell him, honey, don't worry, I'll just warm it up. Shabbat shalom. By the way, we got a new book deal here. Stop God. Stop God. Get your new book deal for $14.99, 3 easy payments. I'm Erica Kirk. Again, we can almost make a joke out of it. You know, some people are even saying they've seen demon eyes. They've seen possession of Erica. Erica, almost like the movie The Exorcist, rising from her bed, pupils dilated. I mean, guys, this has been going on all across the internet. It's all anyone's been talking about. And then the Reiners, last night, Bondi Beach, chaos has erupted worldwide. And I'm not making fun of any of it. I take it all very seriously, but I'm pointing out you're being conned by a show. You're being conned by reality entertainment. You're being conned by media pundits. You know, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be on a media tour like Erica Kirk pitching the next book on countless Fox News, MSNBC television show. I would probably have a period of mourning. Who's even watching her kids? I thought she said she's a Christian mom. Why would a Christian mom leave her kids with a freaking nanny after her husband was whacked? That makes no sense. So again, these are logical questions to ask. And again, prayers for Erica and, you know, prayers for Candace Owens and their big private meeting that's supposed to be private that they've told us is public. You can't make it up. See, this is no difference than watching the Kardashians. So I want you to understand, as America implodes, as Western civilization goes down the gutter, it ain't no different than watching the Housewives of Hollywood Hills. But the Christian Republican version, the Candace Owens, Erica Kirk version. By the way, Erica, you know, nothing against her, but there is no way she can fill the vacuum of Turning Point USA. She is terrible. She is nowhere near as talented as her husband. So no one's going to fill those shoes, which is why they got rid of him. So again, a lot has been going on. So let's talk about the World War, how they structure the false flag. So we all know the group of people being targeted by these events, right? And we've seen this with Gaza and all those events. So they're building a narrative of which they can position the American people to go to war with the other group. So it's all carefully crafted, carefully organized. And of course, it's going to be very difficult to argue against the upcoming World War. Otherwise, they will call you anti-you-know-what. Which again, we've seen this same con over and over again. Remember when they did it with like the Iraqi babies? Remember they said they were like in incubators, but that was all lies and BS. Remember when Bush said there was WMDs in Iraq, but none of that was true. It was all faceless, bold-faced lies. Again, just all lies. Lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. All right, let's get into some economics here for a minute. The elites are in process of the reset now. It is of utmost importance to run from the banks. Exit the banks now. I hope to God you've taken my advice in recent years by buying gold, silver, real estate, Bitcoin, getting out of debt, buying commodities and real assets. They're all breaking new all-time highs. Okay, crypto is about to go on a magnificent bull run into 2026. Gold, silver breaking records. Why? Well, for those of you that don't know, quantitative easing 4 into infinity has already started. The central bank announced another $40 billion and then consecutive purchases of the failed treasury debt market. I want you to keep this in mind. This is how your finances work in America, guys. They create the debt from nothing, backed by nothing, into infinity, not worth the paper it's printed on. And because they don't have a market and no one wants the fake debt not worth anything that they printed and created, guess who's the buyer of last resort? The government. So they print it and then buy their own bag to artificially stimulate it to keep it going into the future. So that's all that's happening now. As quantitative easing continues, cost of living will keep soaring. As you're seeing, there's massive hyperinflation. There's not one political party responsible. They're both responsible. Both Democrats and Republicans have kept the debt hitting new all-time highs. I told you Trump would do this. I even told you Elon Musk would do this. I told you Elon Musk was lying to you. I told you that he would not save a dime, even if he had good intentions, with Doge. And I was proven correct. $4 trillion more was printed. The US debt clock has exploded. Hyperinflation continues. And again, who benefits? The rich, the oligarchs. You have to understand we're in a technological war, that with new technology, this threatens the state. You have to understand, like, in the new system of work, right? So many more people work from home now. It's remote work, or they work on the internet. So let me ask you this question. With AI, with blockchain tech, with cryptos, and all of this new stuff, remote work, let me ask you a question. Why do you need a sovereign? Why do you need a government at all? The answer is you don't. For example, all my businesses, I'll just speak for myself, could literally operate and be domiciled anywhere in the world. It could be domiciled in fake outer space for all we would care. I just speak for myself again, but I receive zero tangible benefit or anything from any sovereign at all. For example, we don't use any government services, never have. All my kids are homeschooled. We don't use any of the public schooling. All my businesses operate independently. In fact, they're all virtual and digital outside of the physical real estate that we own. The media empire that I've built, it's all digital. It's all intangible, right? Reaches billions of people and millions of eyeballs every single month. So, Social Security, I'll never get. Government services, I don't receive. Anything the government does, we don't use. We opt out. I have to pay for my own health insurance, all my own insurance, the health care, all of it. It's all paid out of pocket by me directly. So I want you to understand that the reason why governments have organized a global flat earth coup, and the reason why they're introducing an all-seeing eye Illuminati deep state surveillance state prison, and the reason why they're forming this is because they're scared. Because again, it's a double-edged sword for the elites. As they rip everyone off and destroy the middle class and eradicate everybody into submission, and then steal land like we see in these places. Like again, Blackstone just announced they're taking over all of Lahaina, just as everybody predicted, right? Who benefits? Blackstone, Black Cuck Rock, the too big to fail bankster class, the thugs, the Tony Sopranos, the faceless entities. So we got to go back to, again, who benefits? But governments are also very worried because if you have free people that can move independently, who can make their money online, that opt out of the system completely, that don't have a need for any government services, don't even have an expectation and actually want to opt out of everything related to government BS, they've got a problem. It means they no longer control their target population cows. They're slaves. Just like Tony Soprano shakes down, right, people and is on the take, it's the same metaphor for what's going on with sovereigns. So you have to understand, I'm not going to go too long in the tooth regarding this topic, but the real solution isn't just crypto or blockchain, it's independent new nation states being built that are decentralized, diversified, that are outside of the banks, out of debt, with no bank debt, that create real asset value, that builds legacy wealth and earns while you sleep, that also provides independence and autonomy worldwide, decentralized, which is what we've built, because we're always way ahead of the curve. People don't see it. You see a lot of people talking about privacy coins, but that's not the solution either. This is independent sovereign nation states of 1776 are the solution because, again, there's no need for governments. New technology has enabled all y'all tuning in to opt out of everything. You don't need anything anymore. Again, we can privately fund all of our streets, privately fund all of our firefighters and police officers. You could have an a la carte tax system, basically, where like, hey, I want this, but not this. You could opt in and out of certain things. And again, nowadays, even the elites are doing this. So understand, Peter Thiel and others have set up shop in different sovereigns, bought different sovereigns, and you can actually set up LLCs outside of countries in city-states now. Because again, there's no need for the archaic infrastructure of the old governmental powerful force all-seeing eye system. There's just no need for it. But the reason I explain that to you is it'll help you answer why they're going to build a surveillance police state prison, why everything will be tracked, why you will not buy or sell, why you will have to prove that you are human with the mark, proof of identity, proof of humanity, Neuralink chips, the mark of the beast, is because, again, without that, the governments will have a problem. You will be free and happy and prosperous and wealthy otherwise. So understand that the roadmap for mass control and PSYOP and false flag after false event will continue to hit until governments and those still in power are able to construct an all-seeing eye totalitarian system of utter, complete, and eventual spiritual war and spiritual control. So just understand that. Again, I just proved to you, even if we had the smoking GUN, if we had Hillary Clinton as the culprit with hardcore evidence on camera, nothing would happen. Nothing at all. So you have to understand that. We are far beyond the pale. We are beyond consequences. Those in charge and in power make, bend, change, erase, and create whatever new laws they want. It is a system governed by the psychopaths and the cabal that are still in power, that create, mint, and control currency formation, that not only mint it, buy it from themselves, socialize their losses during collapse, bail themselves out from the American people, and then steal your crap, whether or not this is Lahaina or Paradise or anywhere else, or it's in your entire net worth in 2008-09. See, this is why I've advocated for decades to fight back peacefully, exit the banks now, form God-fearing, faith-first communities like the Digital Noah's Ark, and get rich in 2026, which is what we've been doing. It's what we've already accomplished. God to be the glory, but amazing to see what's happened. I mean, I've even been meeting with some old friends and family members like, Christopher, you're one in a million. You know, you're the only person we know that could predict all these things years in advance. How did you know about Bitcoin? How did you know about all this stuff? I mean, everyone was saying it was going to be banned, and now BlackRock is taking over the entire market, and even Donald Trump's family's number one asset is crypto now. How did you know that the deep state was lying? Well, you just answered your own question. Everything that comes out of the dirty, sovereign government mouth of the deep state, cabal, bankster criminals is a friggin' lie. If they tell you not to buy Bitcoin, buy all of it, which is what they were saying years ago. Now they're just going full circle with it. So my expectations through the end of the year are a couple things, which again, we'll highlight again on this video, and please like and share. I certainly appreciate it. Chaos in America, massive deep state impeachment proceedings like Richard Nixon in 2026. This is why Trump has authorized the National Guard in American city streets. More attacks on the group versus the other group that I'm not really allowed to talk about to craft the narrative for World War. Hyperinflation, dollar collapse, economic reset. And then as that wealth transfer continues, cost of living skyrockets, wealth is destroyed, given to the elites at the top. They socialize all their losses. Then when they're ready, full reset into stable coins, into UBI, Then you've got a dichotomy of no middle class, lower tier digital feudalism. And then the construction of an all-seeing eye, deep state, surveillance state prison, which will culminate in the mark, biologicals and within you, on your right hand and your forehead, of which you will not buy or sell unless you prove you're not a deep fake. Prove you're human. Proof of identity. Now, I do want to go over one other topic I've seen no one else talk about. I want to show you this image for a minute. It is the cover of Stop God, Charlie Kirk's new book that Erica Kirk is pushing. She's so upset, she's on a media speaking tour. She's so traumatized, she's left her kids behind and come out with a new book called Stop God. See that in gold? It's in reverse here on live stream, but notice it's very satanic imagery. Let's go over the imagery. What is highlighted? 2 words. Stop God. Stop God. Very satanic. Very anti-Christ-like. The fingers and the hand, the right hand, represent the horns. You could even say a crown. Notice that the backdrop of Charlie Kirk is blurred. At the top of the middle, like pointer finger, is the eye. The all-seeing Illuminati eye. Notice that the color footprint, even though you're seeing it in reverse, has more darkness shrouding out the light. Stop God is what it says. And actually, if you look at the image, it forms an Illuminati pyramid if you're really looking at it. And again, what's the unconscious message? Stop the Lord. This is what Erica Kirk is saying. Stop God. Stop Christ is what it says. That's why they chose to highlight the 2 words. Stop the Lord. Stop God is what it says. Very satanic. And the hand looks as if he's stopping a B-U-L-L-E-T-T, in my opinion. And the camera image is out of focus. Again, folks, there's so much here. But I want you to separate fact from fiction. Understand that the Candace Owens, the Tucker Carlsons, okay? Nothing against any of these people. They do some good work. But the drama, the Nick Fuenteses, the mainstream media pundit, Megyn Kelly, Megan Smelly, okay? She's now the alternative. It's all a psyop. You're being brainwashed and entertained just like Kim Kardashian and her show, or reality television, or Housewives of Atlanta, or whatever it is, or the Hollywood Hills. Governments are taking all the assets. Again, I just told you, Blackstone just bought all of Maui's remains. $2.5 billion, Blackstone. They're going to come in. People think they might even build Honolulu. Who's going to do anything? You don't even know what Blackstone is. That's my point. Faceless, godless, satanic entities. This is how the deep state takes control. People don't know who to fight peacefully. And this is why the only solution is to form communities to exit their institutions, right? To work together, to get out of the system, to get out of their finances, to get out of their banks, to enrich yourself, become profitable, earn cash flows, build a legacy asset, get rich in crypto and blockchain, as I've made millions of people millionaires over the last near 2 decades. I recommended Bitcoin under 1,000. I recommended XRP when it was in pennies on the dollar. I recommended Ethereum when you never heard about it before. The only way you can take your power back is to exit the system entirely. Otherwise, there's really no other solution. There's no other alternative. So I'm very concerned, again, about the narrative that they've placed, the narrative of these groups. Because notice this, Trump didn't even respond on True Social. Trump puts out like 20 different posts a day on True Social. He didn't even comment on the Bondi Beach massacre. He didn't even speak to it. Let me read, though, what he said about Rob Reiner. So after Rob Reiner and his wife were whacked last night, this is what Donald Trump had to say. I'm just curious your opinion. He says this, quote, "A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald John Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace." Now, Trump spoke to nothing about the Bondi Beach event, but he said this about Rob Reiner. And I'm just curious your opinion. I think you probably know mine, but regardless of what you think of Reiner's politics, I mean, is this appropriate? Is this tone deaf? And I want you to understand there's no guarantee that during Donald Trump's aggressive impeachment proceedings, of which America will be breaking into a civil war next year, riots are probably one of the biggest predictions most in my space are making right now, and I think arguably so for a reason. I mean, the whole country's been militarized. They're building up massive borders, booting everyone out. A lot of good stuff is happening. But in addition to that, they're preparing for chaos. So I want you to understand there's no guarantee Donald Trump makes it, that he gets through his term. He might only make it like 3 years. And then it's over. Then what? So again, if you're depending, this is my point, if you're depending on the state for your success, your well-being, your safety, and your wealth, you will be single-handedly depopulated, destroyed, and exterminated. So understand that. If you depend on the state in any capacity, you will be ended. Okay, if you've put your hope in Republicans, I mean, look what's been going on with Republicans. Massive civil war. Marjorie Taylor Greene is now a direct enemy of President Trump. She's running for president, by the way. Marjorie Taylor is positioning along with J.D. Vance and the PayPal Mafia for 2028. So again, if you're depending on these people, you will be destroyed. You'll be destroyed. Again, what did Australia prove? Strict GON control laws are baseless and worthless. They have some of the most strict laws in the world, and what did it prove? Criminals don't obey the law. They also opened fire for nearly 20 minutes before a single police response. Very eerie. Some are saying it's even a conspiracy. So again, massive inflation, the AI robotic takeover, the tokenization of everything, the massacre of the middle class. BlackRock, Blackstone will own and buy everything. And here's my question. What are you doing to stop it? What are you doing to stop it? We're doing everything to stop it. Again, all of our money's outside of the banks. We make people rich. We're out of the system. We were buying Bitcoin under 1,000. We're wealthy because of it. We have organized like-minded Christians, God first, faith first individuals. We love all people and make disciples. We tell people about Jesus Christ every single day. We are the solution. We need nothing, expect nothing, and want nothing from any sovereign. We are independent, private ecosystem that operates outside of the system within our own, just like the founding fathers. Just like, you look at great people like the Mormons, right? Look at their amazing prepping that they were able to do, the community infrastructure they're able to build. We see this with, the word is escaping me, but the Amish. They don't need the system at all. Notice in 2020, they had no idea even what was going on because it was all in the media. They don't watch any TV, so for them, everything was fine. Nothing changed at all. It's like you tapped them on the shoulder a couple years later. They're like, what happened? And you tell them, oh, there was this huge event. And they're like, really? Nothing happened to us? Because again, the only way you will ever be free is to exit the system entirely and empower yourself with real tools and real wealth creation outside of the system. That is the only impact you can even make. The only pain that BlackRock, Blackstone, Epstein, and the criminal bankers will ever feel is by you extracting their wealth from them and taking their power away. For example, if you all stopped shopping at Nike, Nike would collapse overnight. Its profits would tank. Every time they told you to kneel for the, kneel to the flag or whatever it was. If you destroyed their profits, they wouldn't exist. They might last for a while. I'm sure, there'd be some bailouts coming and stuff, but eventually they would just collapse. Your only power comes from your choices. So understand, if you continue to invest in the system, you're only propping up Blackstone, Black Cuck Rock, Larry Stink Thinker. You're only propping up the deep state. You're only propping up Epstein's trafficking ring. It's your fault. And I want you to understand this critical point. If you comply, you are the problem. Withdraw from the system now. If you want your freedom, if you want to get rich, take my advice. Fire your financial advisor. Withdraw your money from the banks. Exit the system. Invest in real assets. And prepare for 1776 and 2026. Jesus Christ is coming back, folks. Jesus Christ is King. It is an honor to serve you all. It is an honor to serve our Lord. It is an honor to serve side by side my Father, Papa John. And Deck 2 has and will be announced imminently. Deck 2 is coming, folks. We will be moving very quick. Give my dad a call and text to RSVP at 808-442-2934. 808-442-2934. We will be breaking new all-time records in 2026. Again, all this is a crypto takeover right now, just to speak on the crypto. All that's happening is BlackRock, Blackstone, and the deep state is buying your bags. When they're finished, they're taking this to new all-time highs. Bitcoin will smash $1 million plus, up higher. It will go as high as 200x from its current valuations, as Michael Saylor has predicted. My vision has always been about 30, 50x, at least to $1 million. I think 3 to 5 million. So we're looking at, 20 to 50x. Michael Saylor is more aggressive, says 200x. So I just want you to understand the only thing going on, they're taking your bags when they're done, just like they've done with Lahaina. Blackstone just bought all of it. For those of you that don't know, I'll be digging into more of that later. $2.5 billion. They're planning towers, okay? Just like we thought. All they're doing, think about it from a fire perspective. What's on crypto now? A fire sale. So who's buying? Black Cuck, and Black Cuck. Oh, Black Cuck. When they're done and they've stolen all of your bags, they will pump on your face into infinity. Mark my words. They will pump this market to infinity. They will pump on all your faces. And they will destroy and wipe out the middle class as a result. And that's all they're doing. Again, what we've built is the safest investment in the world. I have to say you see our terms and disclaimers, but there's essentially no downside. Physical assets with no bank debt, that over 7 and 10 years only go up historically in the best locations in the world you can use, enjoy, live your investment, producing cash flows and large capital gains plus 1000x tokenization, which is just additional upside making you rich. No downside. Now crypto is volatile, goes up and down. You see what's going on now. Bitcoin was as high as 120K, now it's 85, then it goes to 150, then it's going to 250, then it goes to 100, then it goes to 1 million, then it goes to 5 million. But what we have built, no downside. Physically controlled, outside of the system, led by Christians, no bank debt, no Larry Stink Thinker owns our bag because we own it outright. We're rich because we bought Bitcoin when Larry Fink told you not to. When Larry Kinker told you not to buy Bitcoin. Remember, he called it a scam. When Trump called it a scam, I told you to buy. And I'm telling you now, the deep state cabal has rolled this out. War, chaos, impeachment, militarization, a police state, lockdowns, more are coming, right? Control, surveillance, and as they'll roll out next before 2030, the mark, which has already been rolled out. And in the meantime, carefully craft psychological operations like what we've seen in recent days. Then place the mainstream media into alternative media. Bring in Tucker Carlson from Fox News, throw him into the alternative to ruffle some feathers. Take Megan Smelly and remove her from the mainstream media and then put her in and insert her into the alternative media. Place plants and rabble-rousers like Nick Fuentes, right? And amplify them. Create chaos. That's all the elites are doing. They have the American people slopping out of the palm of their hands like a little piggly wiggly, like a little pig eating slop. And most Americans can't see it until it's too late. Folks, I love you all. Today's video, I hope you share. I'm praying for all of you. Understand that the Lord is with you. His timing is perfect. Be steadfast in prayer. Understand that more chaos is coming, more world collapsing events, more terrible altercations like we saw yesterday in Bondi. I'm expecting coordinated events across the United States, across a lot of American cities, across the entire westernized world. I'm expecting continued militarization, collapse of the US dollar, an extermination of the middle class, and eventually one massive pump of the crypto blockchain market, of which then BlackRock will completely control because the American people weren't smart enough to hold on to their bags and buy more, which is what I'm telling you to do now. Again, just like they take land, they're taking your crypto bag. Bitcoin is real estate. Crypto is real estate. This is actually physical real estate. And so is our blockchain. And that's what they want. And that's why they're buying every single middle-class American suburb. That is why it has been announced, as a result of the dollar collapse and massive unpayable debt, that they're launching 50-year scum mortgages. Next, it'll be 100-year. And it's also why it was recently announced that the central bank will be buying and starting quantitative easing again. The American system has completely failed and collapsed and will be reset into the golden age. Let's pray for Trump, pray for this nation, pray for his very survival. I've said this publicly, I'm not convinced he survives his term. I pray that he does, but I actually don't think he will. Chaos is coming. You must exit the banks, take your power and control, and build your own new independent, sovereign 1776 nation states, just like the founding fathers. Opt out and exit the system and protect you and yours, your family, grow your wealth, build a legacy, do something you are proud of. And more importantly, help your children and grandchildren, because it's going to be a wild ride coming into the next few years. Have a beautiful day. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I will keep you up to date on the latest chaos of, again, what we saw in Australia, what we know is coming to the United States, the upcoming world war that they're crafting now. I'll keep you up in the loop of all the latest reality television developments of Erica Kirk, all the latest Candace Owen drama. I'll give you the full titillating facts of all of it, which we know the American people love. More focused on entertainment in a bread and circus than they are fighting back. Again, Candace Owens could have the smoking GUN, and I'm telling you straight up, nothing would happen. Nothing. So just understand that fact. We could uncover it was Hillary Clinton. She holding it. Nothing would happen. And you know I'm right. It's all entertainment. It's all a dog and pony. We saw in 2020 they were dancing with their masks on. You remember that? They were dancing at the hospitals because it was so terrible. They broke out into song. Ha, 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 ha. You remember that? Allegedly. The whole world came to a standstill. But they were doing a show because it's all it is. So again, understand what's really going on. The deep state is running a psyop. Erica Kirk is controlled. She has handlers. Understand that. An agent who's pushing her around and telling her you're going to do this and that. They're putting on a show. They announce their private meetings to the public. I want you to understand how idiotic. It proves my point. Hey, we just want you to know we're going to have a private meeting behind closed doors you're not supposed to know about, so we're going to announce it. And I'm heartbroken by by my husband's recent tragedy, which is why I spend most of my time on a podcast now, and I'm not taking care of any of my kids, and a nanny has taken over as mother. So now they have no parents because I'm a Christian woman. Shabbat shalom. Am I right or am I right? In conclusion, I will also say that I abhor and condemn the terrible events we've been seeing in the last few days. And I want you to know that you have a friend in the general, and I stand with our brothers and sisters and all of you. Our goal is to spread truth, just like Jesus, the wildfire of his salvation, to spread hope, love, make disciples, and help prepare you for what's coming next so that you will resist with tools the tyranny, the surveillance state, the depopulation, the mark of the beast, the things that are going inside, and all of it. And understand, God willing, and all glory to God, we've been right about all of it for nearly 20 years. It's amazing, isn't it? To be right about everything. And I'm telling you this, 2026 will unlock the tokenization 1000X. 2026 will unlock BlackRock's takeover of the entire Bitcoin blockchain market. It's going to be a massive show of force. All that's happening now is they're shaking you out before the breakout, just like Lahaina. Burn it down, then take it over. And that's what Blackstone, just as many of us have predicted, just did. Same thing in Paradise, same thing in Malibu. Burn it down, and then Black Cuck takes it over. Here's my question, what are you gonna do? If you rally with us, you'll actually fight Black Cuck. You'll get rich. Black Cuck has a competitor. Christians. It's how you get rich, and it's how you fight back. Democratized. Otherwise, Black Cuck and Larry Stink and Blackstone will take you over and destroy all of you. And that's the hardcore truth. It's going to be interesting, folks. Elon Musk is announcing flying cars by the end of the year. He says he will cure all poverty, just like he also said he would get rid of all the debt, which he did none of that. The debt has exploded higher. But he's got some major developments, he does say, with the Mark and the Neuralink chip, he says that is now going to help integrate all humans with AI. You know where this is going. We all know where this is going. I love you. God bless. Links up here and down here. Get ready and prepare for Deck 2.